Hello, everyone. Welcome back to season 2, episode 3 of A Piece of V podcast. Joining me today is our lovely guest. But before that, I would, of course, introduce myself. I am yours, Vanessa Makeche, your host of A Piece of V podcast. As I said earlier, joining me today is a friend and now a brother, someone we're going to learn from today who's going to walk us through his journey. I really appreciate your presence. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, Massin.
Oh, thank you, Vanessa, for having me. I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
I'm super excited. The first time you reached out to me or I reached out to you, I didn't really know whether we're going to click. I thought you weren't even going to respond to any of my DMs. But the fact that you reached out and you are just so warm and welcoming, I'm really grateful. I hope you know that.
I always get that from people. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. That meant a lot to you.
Yeah, so getting into our topic of discussion,
Yeah.
music as a career. I picked you for this particular segment because I know how much you invest your time into your music, into what you do basically. Your videos, working with other people, your collaborations, it's really inspiring. And the fact that you chose gospel music in particular just blows my mind. So then, let us just engage the listeners. Who is Massin? Like, what are your full names? Where do you come from? Like, who are you away from the music?
Well, my name is Thomas. My name is Thomas Singwa. So my name Massin comes from Thomas. If you check the Thomas, it's got MAS. That's
Mm-hmm.
a first Massin came from like mass, then SIN, which is like sin, came from my surname Singwa, so that made up Massin. So it's basically my name that I just wanted to give myself in order for me to be a little unique and just to have a name that is truly like my name. Because I
Yeah.
noticed you have a choice to make a name, but I
Mm-hmm.
just I just chose to make Massin as my name.
Amazing. I for one did not know that. We all know you as that boy Massin, but then we don't really know where the name came from. So thank you for letting us in on that one. That was really important and super, super insightful. I like it. The creativity with the name already. This is why you're an artist. We can see that now.
Yep.
So this is gonna be fun. Getting into the second question of our segment today, just give us a feel of your music journey, just from the beginning. What has it been like? What was what was the inception of your music? At what age did you start writing, recording, and at what point did you get to this stage?
Well, it started back in 2010. I was a secular artist. My dad
Ah.
bought a computer, and my brother was interested to do videos. He's actually one of the best videographers in Zambia. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I liked beats because I used to enjoy much of the music, the Lil Waynes and few guys. So I was also inspired to make music just through friends. Growing up where you are listening to some artist and you be like, okay, I want to be like this one, and
Yeah.
it was just for fun, just trying to kill time with my friends. Then in 2010, I think my family was going through a lot of spiritual battles, so
Mm-hmm.
our pastor started taking us to church, and it started like the music I was listening to was demonic because it could
Mm-hmm.
be behave in a certain way, and I wasn't liking myself because I used to drink a lot. I used to like women. I used to smoke. Then
Mm-hmm.
in 2010, when we were going through the prayers and everything, I started listening to. I started discovering new music like gospel music, rap music. So I was like, oh, okay, I can hear a beat that I used to listen in secular. something like this. It wasn't easy. I was still doing secular. Moved out of Lusaka, went to a place where I found other guys who were so creative and they were so excited to meet me. And we started doing music. It was all music. I used to call myself Little Tom because of my name Thomas, and I like
Uh-huh.
Little. So was like Little Tom. This is the hardest rapper because I was a rapper. Then when I began to look at where I come from, um,
Mm-hmm.
eventually in 2011, I was sent to a boarding school where
Mm-hmm.
when I went there, like different things started happening. My life started changing, and also, um, like I was appointed to be like a spiritual person in a group called Scripture Union. They chose me to be like the chairman. So I started meeting God whilst I was in high school. I was a prefect, so my life became so reserved just when I was
Yeah.
at school. Then with time, I began to pray and begin to look at my life so different. I was telling God, use me, use me, use me. Then conviction came in 2015. That's when
Mm-hmm.
I fully got to understand like I am born for a purpose. Jeremiah 1 verse 5 says, long before I was born, long before my mom and my dad met, God created.
Mm-hmm.
I am born for a purpose. So that purpose is to fulfill God's will. That scripture
Yeah.
still me, and even right now it's my favorite scripture because it reminds me that even every day when I wake up, I can do all sorts of things, but I'm reminded that I am supposed to spread love. I'm supposed to share the love of God because He's the one who's the reason why I'm still living. So I got that conviction, and it really took me to a place where I that my life, and I told God, I don't want to be a rapper. If you want me to be a gospel artist, or if you want to use me, I want you to make me somebody that sings so that my music doesn't have a limitation. Whoever wants to listen, they can listen. So back 2015, I started doing my music. I got my first EP, was called Nikolupilila, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the song Nikolupilila was like Yes Wali Koboy Olo Mankalamo Koloboy, so it was like me,
Yeah.
people like, as much as you are living in the world where there's little light that we see, God is there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a song that brought me out, and people started listening to my music. People love my stuff. I discover what I do, and also just trying to perfect my music. So it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And when I look back at 2015, God opened doors for me. I managed to get that EP sold out. I bought my first car in 2015, and I bought my first iPhone in 2015. It was so crazy because I started looking different in 2016, 17. Actually was booked. I went to South Africa in Durban. I lived in Durban for
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months as a tour. I found people love my music. Their life was different. When I came back,
Uh-huh.
it was different. I started touring. I went to Zimbabwe, had a show in the UK, had a show in Malawi. So it was like all different lifestyle came together. And 2018, 2017, I kept on just singing until I started getting collabs in 2018. I did a joint called Talk of a City with Soba and a few other artists, and it blew
Yeah.
up Africa wide. I got my music accepted in Uganda. I started getting
Mm-hmm.
some good media plays. Up to now, I see God is the reason. So Massin is God's favorite child who's just living to spread the gospel, and it's been a journey that I can never stop.
Amazing. Well, that was very inspiring. Well, seeing that this whole week we're celebrating mental health awareness, I've just picked out a few things from what you have highlighted, which then brings me to my next question. What are some of the challenges that the music industry is facing locally that most fans do not get to see?
Well, right now there is financial stability, because as you are in the journey, Obviously,
Mhm.
always improvements that is needed. Just like you are doing a business, you won't be selling the same items every day. You obviously want
Mhm.
to business grow. So with the music, for me, my challenge was I never had the resource to go to big studio. I was dreaming to go to big studio, but
Mhm.
really had opened doors for me. I could get highly recognized producers because they could listen to my stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, yeah, really good. We need you to come to the studio. You do a song for the studio," and it was working out for them. I had the likes of the Seas, like Mark 44. I could spend some time in their studio, and I'm looking at
Oh.
activity, and it was working out. I was actually given an opportunity to be working with Checho Lokuta from Radio Cafe,
Mhm.
so I could spend most of my time there. And the only challenge I had was I cannot still give them my creativity, because it's like limited things. So what I noticed is, as you are entering the journey, you need to be to learn, to improve, and also to be open, so that you begin to think different. So for me, what I did was I started buying things for like studio stuff so that I can be recording my own things. I hire somebody to come to the house,
Mhm.
they produce me, or I can now sit down and start perfecting my craft. So the challenge that I see most of the potential artists having is uh, financially. Most of the people are not financially stable, and also looking back, like the people that are surrounding them, you find that there's nobody who can give you direction. Like personally, I've been managing
Mhm.
my for years, and the only
Right.
thing is you can do all the things by yourself, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be a challenge if you don't have somebody who reminds you of who you are, because we are real
Yeah.
human beings who go through real pain, real struggle. For me, when I never had studio, I could use my money for college just to go to the studio part of it, just to meet for me to record a song. And in that place, I could see that I was just giving somebody money, and I wasn't able to save for my own. So I started saving for my own stuff until I managed to reach at a point where I have everything, and that makes,
Mhm.
but I still feel like the challenge that is there is, we, as much as you can have all these things, we need a mentor. You need somebody who can guide you. You need somebody who can remind you. You need somebody who can push you, somebody who can boost you. And for me, what has been working is I've got my team in the States, like real team.
Mhm.
From the time I started my music career, they know me, and now that built like family is my team. They support me in every way they can, financially, mentally, in every way they can. And these are my people where they always remind me, "Hey, Massin, you need to drop new music. Hey, Massin, you need to do this. Hey, Massin, you need." So this is the challenge that most of the people that have been in the game I've seen. I've spent most of the times with uprising artists, and I've seen that direction comes from somebody who has gone ahead of them. They are not people that believe in themselves, and that becomes the
Oh
most
yeah.
challenging. The only thing that you can knock out a part where you feel like there's a challenge is you begin to believe in yourself more than anybody else. And if you believe in yourself, everything that can look so hard because you believe that you can achieve, these challenges are broken. For me personally, I won't lie, there are days that,
Mhm.
like, hey, I want to give up on these things. They don't bring
Oh
money.
yeah.
I'm just getting famous and I'm using bus. But I started telling God, like, hey, look, dude, brother, man, you using
The
me.
authenticity.
Yeah, like this is you using me for your glory. I don't want a
Mhm.
lot. I want to live a nice life. I want to live my best life. So even when I used to do shows, I could tell him, like, look, I don't want to be on this bus. I can't be
Mhm.
using. I'm going to an event where I'm gonna preach your gospel, and if I go back to the bus, people be insulting, playing bad music. So I used to move with earphones, like earphones every day, earphones, so that I cannot hear the noise from the people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and was you need to begin to speak your future into existence, because I have seen so many gospel artists. Some of them, I met them a long time ago when I was doing this music, but I think they have not reached at the point where they talk to God and command Him or just remind Him to say, "Hey, you're using me for this. This is a major challenge." So there are quite a number of challenges, but the ones I faced a lot, which were really making me lose hope, was where you're not having enough bucks to go to a good studio. You're not having enough to actually push your music up out there. But I began to understand that it's a process and it needs you first to understand yourself and
Mm-hmm.
to just open. So even when I see most of the artists have a heart, I've been trying to help everyone. When I see that they're serious in their spiritual life is actually on point, I want to be open to teach them and also maybe just to mentor them. Though I'm changing the perspective of all these things, counseling and development. It's gonna come at a fee because of my team in the States. We want people who will value what they do, even when they pay for a fee. They'll be like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
learning and I want to use these things. I realize that the most challenge that people have is they'll go for a free mentorship and they won't take anything because it's a free program. So these are the challenges that I've noticed that can bring somebody down. But the most important thing is you need to believe in yourself even before anybody else believe in you. And all those
Um,
challenges not be actually coming at your door.
Amazing. Well, there are a few things that you've highlighted and that I have picked from. Well, you've mentioned the aspect of financial stability and also believing in yourself. You also mentioned the part where you would use your money that you had for college. So my question is, as you were in college, what were you studying? Because I believe you're sort of like trying to work with both your music career as well as your professional career. So aside from your music career, what is it you are doing in the background? Because truth be told, normally people would rely on one thing. Say if I'm focusing on music, it's just gonna be music for me, not until I make it in this aspect. But then we see you doing both. There's like the college going and then the music making. So what is it you were studying as you were saving up money to go to the studio?
Well, for me, I don't believe in one thing principle. My pastor, I want to see if I can open that verse. I said I can't open this verse, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
share. It's actually in Ecclesiastes. And my
Mm-hmm.
pastor, the one that said that should be Ecclesiastes 11, one going down. For me, I believe in me. Like in me, there is like 100 people. So I don't believe in a low life. I don't believe in
Uh-huh.
suffering. I don't believe in poverty, simply because there are certain things I've gone through and I wouldn't want to go back there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to settle for less, in other words. So
Okay.
I chose to study accounts, and the reason why I studied accounts, I wasn't so good in high school. The time I didn't meet God, but the time I met God, oh my goodness, my life changed. I started getting good grades. I was so bright. I tell you,
There we go.
never did accounts, but I said I'm gonna be an accountant and musician because I was looking at young person who wants to get to develop fast. So
Oh
in my
yeah.
accounts, I am actually one of the people that have learned a lot. I can manage different companies, and I can maybe
Mm-hmm.
manage 10 companies or something. But this is me now sharing what I don't believe in. I don't believe in what people say. I don't believe in what another person has done or they have failed to do, and I should say I'm not gonna do it. I believe in myself because there are so many things I would like to change about life, and there are so many people I would love to change their lives because this is how God has created me. So I decided to study accounts, and the reason I studied accounts, there is no reason. I just needed a life that I am perceived as an accountant, of which that's a career that maybe few people respect. Like, oh, he's an accountant, he's got money, but it wasn't all about oh, he's got money. It was all about oh, let me do something meaningful because there's a time that I will not be singing, but maybe I'll be writing books or mentorship, and I need to spend
Oh
time
yeah.
and I don't want my family to be like, oh, my dad was a musician and my dad never did anything. I don't want such a life. I want my children to have a generation that is gonna multiply my success, and I want that generation gonna earn money and I want a generation that is gonna come out to be like successful. You understand? So
Oh yeah.
now sharing my life away from the music. I live a normal life. I love business and I love to
Mm-hmm.
progress. I love to see success. I love to see other person's life change. I love to share money. I love to share food. I love to share a few things that I know, but I stopped because I don't want to give my knowledge or wisdom to people. People need to pay for that. But
Exactly. I mean,
there are things that yeah, if I share food money, there's no problem. God is gonna bless me more. This is me, and so that's the reason why I want to study accounts. And I really needed this life, to be honest with you. I remember 10 years ago, or maybe I can
mm-hmm.
say years ago. This is a life I was actually seeing. When I was in high school, I could see my life. I could see my success. So even when I'm driving my car, I am not feeling like, oh, I'm too young for this. Like yesterday I was driving to Kabwe and one policeman stopped me like, hey, who's the owner of the car and where's the driver's license? Like this is happening almost everywhere because I look young and people be like, oh, who's the owner of this car? Who's the owner of this?
Yeah.
So there's few things that I am doing in the background that is away from what I can share, but this is a generation that I am breaking, uh, like like what my dad did when he was in his 40s. I want to do it when I'm in my 20s. I want to do it in my
Oh.
30s because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want a generation that suffers. I want to see my dad success that he has seen at the age of 50. I want to see it at the age of 35, and that's me now. So this is how I live, and it's a busy life. Sometimes I don't have time for myself, but I don't drink, so I maybe grab a juice or sit down to drink, and I can improve my life. So when you are choosing a career, don't believe in what people say, like you can't save two masters at once. That's the
Yeah.
or always believe in what you want to see. My pastor was challenging me because I've been having God giving me different ideas, and I was sharing my family in the States, and they be like, hey, you just keep living your dreams. Whatever that you can do, do it. And when my pastor called me for mentorship, it's like, listen, everyone is supposed to have 7 streams of income. And when I hate that,
Ah,
I was like, oh my
nice.
goodness, this is Pastor challenging me right now. And I was like, why is he talking like this? Because he wants me to win in every angle of my life. And so he gave me this scripture that Ecclesiastes 11, from 1 going down. I'm still reading that scripture because I was even thinking about it today. So don't believe in what people say. What people say is not you, and it's not your identity. There are things that you want to change about your life. You don't want to use bass, you don't want to use common soap, you don't want to drink a common juice. It's time you need to speak things that are different, even when you are enjoying your life. As a human being, you are okay, and you shouldn't be at the point where you believe in everyone's word.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that piece of knowledge. And this time around, you're doing it for free. You guys have to understand that the next time he's gonna be doing this is not gonna be for free. I
But
mean, he comes
basic,
at a price.
this is like basic, Vanessa. I'm not sharing more. Yeah, because I am learning to respect myself. So I can't go on social media and post meaningful things because those are things maybe somebody else is buying a book to read. So I can have so much things that I can talk, and some people be like, "Oh, I will use that for my book. I'll use that for my next preaching." So I stopped because I think it's not a good idea to show that you're intelligent out there, but you are not very successful. I want to be a human being that will speak a word and people gonna pay for it. Not that I need that money, but because they will value me and say, "Oh, we can learn a lot from this guy." So there's so many things I do in the background that I don't want people to know because obviously they'll be like, "Oh, okay." So he can learn about this, he can learn about that business, he can do such a business, he can improve someone's life. So this is me sharing.
Amazing. Each time I'm recording, it always feels as though time is never enough. And I don't really like saying goodbye because I'm always in this space where I love to learn. I just love to evolve and just embrace what I'm getting from anybody I'm having an interview with. This saddens me, but we've come to our final and last question. What is next for you as Massin, music wise? I just noticed something from your social media. You recently dropped new music. It was a collaboration. Tell us more about it. Like, now that it's dropped, we've seen you in many places. You recently visited Diamond TV, Radio Christian Voice. Yeah, in many places. The first time I saw your music actually was on Trace Africa. And truth be told, not many Zambians are featured on Trace Africa. We have the likes of Pompey and Esther Chungu, and then there you were, Massin. I was like, this guy is great. He's really putting in so much work and effort. So, what's next for you?
Well, I'm still trying to pursue my dream musically. So, what's next for me is there is a collaborated album that me and my bro forward all the way from the USA. Then
Mm-hmm.
we are dropping our second single on the 20th of October, which is few weeks from now. Few days
Oh,
from now.
nice.
It's a banger and it features a lot of artists. What is next for me is fulfilling my purpose by doing shows. I want to do events where Vanessa, you can come with the family, you can come with friends, you come
Mm-hmm.
and music, and I share the wisdom of God. I preach, I pray for people because I believe there's another soul that also wanna venture into music, and obviously maybe they want to find their purpose. So this is my calendar for next year, and also aside from that, God has given me a heart that I love to share. So what is more is gonna be more from me is I wanna go out to communities, buy whatever I can buy and distribute, not as an NGO, but somebody that has to share God's heart, also God's blessings to people. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
is my heart. I don't want to be much of a person that is much on the newspaper. People are talking about me, but I have few things I want to achieve is do events, simple events, family events, and also just reach out to souls by sharing blessings, giving out clothes, giving out food, and also working on new music because the music for now will not stop. Maybe only if I'm 50 or 45 or whatever, but I think the music will still come back to back. But more of visibility will be maybe events, books, um, talk, and also more music. This is me, and this is my life. This is what's next. So I have few couple of songs I wanna drop, and I'm planning to work on my EP, and I'm planning to actually get more corporate deals because this is my next desire. I've been telling my dad God because I feel like I've not done anything for Trace. For me, it doesn't mean anything. I know there's somebody who's still dreaming, but for me, I feel if I can reach out to souls, the whole world, and they all give their lives to Christ. Through my music, they're healed, they're finding hope. Like Omar Balansa, that video, I've been getting feedback from people, different countries. They're saying this song blesses me. To me, that is a motivation, and that is more of what I want to see because this is what I'm created for. And I have not had time to be creating music, and that's the reason why most people don't know me. But I am praying for a life that I will stop working or not really
Mm-hmm.
working. I will stop thinking I have the accounts life. I just want to be somebody that can be like business oriented and my finances are coming from music because this is my desire. I would love to tour the whole world and just do music for people to be blessed and know that there is God.
Amazing. We have come to the end of our episode today. Um, Today, I was joined by a very ambitious, enthusiastic young man who's very passionate about the music industry. I picked him in particular because he's someone whose music spoke to me as well. and he's someone that I reached out to and got back to me and is very supportive of my work as well. I'm so grateful, Massin. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really appreciative.
I want to
Well,
say,
you
this as we come to an end. This podcast is the biggest podcast in Zambia. So whoever is listening to this podcast, make sure you always tune in, because the next time that you want to be on this podcast, obviously she'll be interviewing the president.
yes, to that, Martin, I surely do agree. So, that said, please do not forget to follow me on all my social media handles, Vanessa Makete, but on Instagram, Vanessa Sombo Makete on Facebook, and also follow the podcast page, which is a piece of the podcast on Facebook. On YouTube, it is available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Anchor FM. My last question: what are your social media handles, Massin, in case people want to reach out to you?
Well, my social media, and I've been having the name that boy Massin, which most people like, but I re-edited my social media, so it's Massin official underscore, and that's on Instagram, Massin official underscore, on Twitter, Massin official underscore, and on Facebook is Massin fan page. On YouTube, that's where you find that boy Massin, as well as Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, and the rest. But my website is that boy Massin, and my social is Massin official.
Amazing. You heard it from him. You are with me, your host, Vanessa Makete. Please do not forget to favorite this particular episode, tell a friend to tell a friend. Please share this particular episode, spread the word, spread the love. Um, from Massin and I, it is good night and God bless you.